Hey there. In this recording, I'm going to show you how you can take some work that you've done in SQL or Python, for example, to create a report and make it interactive and dynamic using filters and inputs. So in this example, I just have it's my very simple movie data that just shows a list. Let me expand this real quick here. Shows a list of all movies over time with some basic information about these movies, like the release date, revenue, and so on and so forth. And I've created a very simple query here. So my query just selects all the fields from the movie's CSV. And the release date actually is a little bit funky here. There's a timestamp. So just to parse that out, I am using the try cast function here to convert that to a date. And I'm filtering on movies that were released between basically the 1900s and 2020. And so you can see we plotted it here so we can see the total revenue of movies released between those years over time. Now, say I want to go and change this. I could go and obviously say I want to only look at movies released maybe between 1990 and 2020. I can update that, run it, and I can see my updated chart down here. But again, what if I want to make this sort of dynamic and interactive and not have to share this with someone who has to go and play around with any of the code? So we make that incredibly simple. So in this case, I'm going to I'm going to go up here. I'm going to say insert a new cell, and we're going to add a filter. And we're going to add, in this case, a date. So we're going to create a date range, something where someone can go and pick two dates in a dropdown. We're going to make this a range here because we do want a start date and an end date. So let's go ahead and click that. And then we're going to call this released between, and then that'll be what the users see. And we can call this min release date, max release date. And you can see here's a little tip, as a matter of fact, on how to use this within a SQL cell. And here's an example, and I can pick the default range. So my default will be, I'll pick January 1st, 1990 to January 1st, 2024. Okay, great. So those are my default dates. Let's go ahead and submit that. Okay, now I have my input or my filter up here, but I need to now make this dynamic. So the way I'm going to do that is, as a matter of fact, I'm going to use a little function here because this will actually create a date timestamp. So we just want to extract the date from that. So we're actually going to use : date here, and then within the single quotes here, we're going to add bracket. So that's indicating to a SQL query that we're adding a dynamic parameter. And instead of putting a date, we're going to say min release date. So remember, that's what we call this up here, min release date. So that'll be the first date from the dropdown. And then we're going to do the same thing for the second date here, max release date. There we go. Now, if I hit run, I did everything correctly. Okay, great. That seemed to have worked, but let's just double check. So here, let's say I want to take a look at movies released between, what do we have? We have data roughly up to 2017, it looks like. So let's say we want to look at movies that were released between 1990 and 2000. Just go here. Did I say 1990 and 2000? Okay, let's go ahead and add that. There we go. Just like that, our chart is updated. Now you can add all sorts of other filters. So let's say, for example, we want to now only filter on movies that are, we want to maybe filter out short films. And let's say a short film, for example, is a film that ran for less than 60 minutes. So you can also say, and runtime. So we have the runtime here. As a matter of fact, I can just click and copy that if I want. Runtime greater than, and we're going to do the same thing here. So bracket, runtime, but this time it's just going to be a number. It's not going to be a string, so we don't need those single quotes. And I'm going to, and by the way, if there's an issue and you sort of need some help with the filtering, the AI actually understands the filtering concept. So you can hit the autocorrect button and it'll help you fix it. Going back to this though, so runtime, I'll just call this runtime variable var. I'm going to insert a new cell up here. We're going to add this. This time it's a number field. What did I call this? Runtime var. Runtime greater than. Okay, just double check that worked. Okay, I saw that change a little bit. Let me do this. So let me go back to my maybe 1950 to 2015. And let's maybe just exaggerate just a little bit just to see. Let's say 120 maybe. We're going to go extra long films. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to go ahead. Let me just collapse this real quick. Let me just double check one more time. So let's reduce that threshold. And there we go. So you can create all sorts of filters. You can create, let's go back here. You can create dates and date ranges. You can create pick lists, multi-pick lists. You can create Boolean fields, true, false toggle, numbers and number ranges, text fields. So really your imagination's the limit here. And of course, when you then go and publish this as a report, your users will be able to play around with these inputs and these filters. This is also available in Python as well, so you don't just have to be doing this in SQL. If you rather work out of Python, sorry, let me expand this. You can pass variables directly here. You just don't need the bracket. Hope this was a helpful little tutorial. And again, as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.